Oh my god, that's so fake.
Why is everything slowed down?
That just isn't even possible.
Ronaldo's better.
Chickadee is definitely a girl.
Every fandom has disrespect, and frankly, it's all over the anime communities. From whatever anime you can think of, there's people out there that will disrespect it from the top to the bottom of the anime. From side characters to main characters, it doesn't matter. Frankly, the way the building looks might get hated on. But Blue Lock is something that I don't really 100% understand, at least in terms of the hatred towards it. I was one of those people initially that wasn't too sold on what Blue Lock was. It's a football anime. It's a sport. Me personally, as a coach of football, not, soccer, but American football, I didn't really want to intertwine the ideas of sports into any content or anything that I watched. I felt that keeping all sports related content to, actual IRL content that I consumed would have been better for me, at least personally. But after some poking and prodding, someone finally got me to watch Blue Lock. And let's just say I've been obsessed ever since. But there's one thing I've heard from almost every single person that's either has watched 1 to 2 episodes or hasn't watched it at all, is the fact that they hate the idea that it's not real, that there isn't enough realism to it. And for the people that are saying that, well, you're right. There isn't that much realism. But at the same time, realism would have destroyed Blue Lock entirely. We've seen sports animes go down the route of making it kind of believable. Believable that if you plopped the anime in real life, that it could actually happen. But then we've seen animes go a little above and beyond. Tap into these ideas that are expanded on in what we love, animation. So yes, to an extent, maybe we could have done for a little bit more realism in Blue Lock. But to the extent that most people that are complaining about it, well, realism would have obliterated Blue Lock. Now, let's just start off with a couple realistic things that did happen in Blue Lock. Well, for starters, is just straight up the team mentality. As a coach, I literally drive my players off of this, that everything lives and dies by the team. If we lose as a team, we lose as a team. You don't lose by a single player or a single play. But same thing with winning. You win, that means you win as a team. So in Blue Lock, they did portray that to a certain extent. And frankly, they did portray the feelings that most of players, including myself when I was a player, would feel when you would lose, especially if you felt that it was either your fault or you could have done something about it. That is just flat out realism off the bat. I mean, we have an actual real coach's mentality in terms of what they want their players to do, and a reaction from a star player when they follow that mentality to the doom of the team. But now let's get on to the real juicy part of it, Blue Lock. And this is something that I did kind of question the realism of it. Maybe because of dramatic effect, or maybe because I felt that it was maybe a little too outlandish, but at the same time, it builds even greater of an anime. It builds way more than just making it some sort of glorified kind of training camp. Blue Lock is made for strikers and is made to make someone the best striker in Japan, if not the entire world. If you want that to happen, you need to put pressure on people, because like they say, pressure makes diamonds, or you will crack under it. So Blue Lock, maybe it's not the most realistic idea of saying that nobody would be allowed to more or less join Japan's national team if they locked off of Blue Lock, but at the same time, we're talking about something that is made dramatic. And just like many TV shows out there, there are many things that are glorified for drama, so that things feel more suspenseful, more dramatic, and you give more of an attachment feel. And now with all that said, let's get into some of the things that I know most of the people are thinking about when they talk about how Blue Lock has no realism. And it's frankly the drastic and insane animation. Oh, how they speak to themselves during certain plays. How minutes of a game stretches on for what feels like hours. And flat out, this is just the anime effect. And flat out, if you try to sit here and say that, well, I don't like it because of realism, then you might want to look at the catalogs of anime that you watch yourself. Because how realistic are those? Because I'm sure, and I can guarantee you, that a lot of those have drawn out fight scenes or drawn out scenes made for drama. And that's exactly what these scenes are. An explanation of movements that soccer players or football players would be doing. These certain direct shots. These things that the players are thinking about during the game and how they can get the upper hand on another person. This is something, frankly, that is normal in the world. Yes, ironically enough, the crazy animation may not be real itself, but the realism of the idea of what they're doing is definitely realistic. I teach my own players in a game that your mind is just as powerful as your body, especially when someone is directly in front of you. You need to know their weaknesses, what are their tendencies, and we see Isagi expose many of those things throughout the series, and we see other people expose Isagi for those same things. Tendencies and weaknesses, those are things that are in Blue Lock, and frankly, in everything in life. But here's the thing, and I'm gonna be completely transparent. I'm not here to prove that Blue Lock is realistic, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of things that happen in Blue Lock that in real life wouldn't make much sense. And there's a lot of shots that Blue Lock, in terms of Blue Lock, and in terms of football itself, nobody would be taking. And I understand that. But there are flashy plays that you need to show and you need to do to basically keep the audience intact. Because let's be honest, if Isagi was just taking his boring old direct shots over and over again, no matter what, I think most of us would be extremely bored. If Kunigami wasn't showing this insane range to shoot the ball and score goals, I think all of us would be bored. If Bachira wasn't running down the field, dribbling and crossing up 3 to 4 players at a time, I think we would all be bored. Because realism is a scary thing. And even if there's aspects of realism in an anime, like Blue Lock, for instance, all of the things I've said before, and on top of that, let's talk about Chiguri's injury. Realism definitely can enhance an anime if you use it properly. Think about Chiguri, a side character, someone that, let's be honest, nobody cared about. Nothing at all. Not a single soul would care about Chiguri. But then you hear that Chiguri dealt with injury, ACL tear. This would immediately set you in a different mindset. Chiguri is someone far, far different. Actually, far, far different than your normal, just casual anime protagonist. It's your casual side character in any anime. This person was dealt with an injury, was willing to just give up on their dreams. And frankly, I know many, many people, athletes alike, that either got injured and their dream was over, or got injured and were so scared to play on their injury that they gave up on the sport they loved. So if we're going to sit here and talk about how Blue Lock has no realism, that is the very outlandish thing to say. But if we're talking about Blue Lock having too much realism, I think we could all say that there's no way that would be the case. Because I love the idea of having a realistic cast of characters. I love the idea of having injuries involved in a story. I love the idea of seeing the struggles that Isagi goes through from lacking in what he needs, lacking in speed, lacking in strength. And frankly, all of this matters in terms of the realistic aspects of Blue Lock. But imagine if you had these, but lacked the insane things Isagi would do later. The reading of the field, the inner monologue against Rin when he finally gets the upper hand, when he calls Bado a donkey. If you didn't have these realistic standpoints and these realistic points along the way, well, Blue Lock wouldn't have had a creative, outlandish, and beautiful way of animating football itself. And frankly, I will sit here till the day I die and say that realism and realism in its entirety would have destroyed, demolished, and burned Blue Lock to the ground. But let's not forget, these aren't your typical football games that you're watching that are totally and completely not rigged at all. This is anime. This is something that is created by an author, something that is created for entertainment, and frankly, something that is made to not be taken that seriously. So, when we take something too seriously, we get a couple people that decide they believe they are right, even without watching an anime at all. Maybe they were on TikTok too long, maybe YouTube Shorts. But hey, an opinion's an opinion, and I'm allowed to have my own as well. And mine is that Blue Lock is a masterpiece, even if Nagi floats in the air just a little longer than I probably would think he should. With that said, I hope y'all enjoyed. And if y'all want to see more Blue Lock content like this, well then show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, and leave a comment down below. And I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.